everyone, how's it going? I'm Casey Martin from Wine Country Woodworks, and this is going to be a really cool video showing you all how I turned my shop into what I would call a smart shop. I've put smart plugs all throughout here that hook up to the lights, my dust collector, and also the toaster oven I use for stabilizing so that I can set timers and turn that off remotely when it needs to be turned off. And so I can do tons of cool things with this. I obviously can do voice commands with it that I'll show you guys in a second. But there's also an app on my phone that I can use for remote control. So obviously when I turn the dust collector on with my voice, it's so loud that I need a remote, which I obviously have now, to turn it off because obviously it wouldn't be able to hear me. But some of the cool things I can do are, Alexa, turn off the lights.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on the lights.
Okay.
So I'm sure the camera kind of freaked out there with the light change, but really cool. I'm not going to show you guys right now with the dust collector, or I guess I might as well. Alexa, turn on the dust collector.
Okay.
So first and foremost, if you want to do this project, obviously you're going to need some smart plugs. Also, if you want to do the voice commands, you're going to need an Amazon Alexa. I believe you could also do it with Google Home. The links to the Echo that I'm using to access Alexa and also these smart plugs will all be in the video description down below. I believe you could also use the Google Home Assistant because I know these smart plugs are compatible with those as well. So my lights are hooked up to outlets, and that's what the light switch is hooked up to these outlets, and that's what the lights are plugged into. It's the only switch in my shop, so obviously I use it for the lights. What's nice is I use this extender that goes from 2 plugs into 4 or 5 normally, and it works with these smart plugs because they just fill the exact switches. So what I'm doing now is adding the smart plugs as a device to the app. The app that I'm using is the Casa app by TP-Link. And what's great is this app synchronizes and integrates with the Amazon Alexa app as well. So I'm adding each individual plug. There will be 4 plugs in total. These plugs are actually a pretty good deal. They were only like $30 each for a 2-pack. So I name each one like light 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I can go back and add all of them as a group, which I'll show you guys in a bit. What I do after adding those 2 is I then obviously do the other section of the lights. So I add in those plugs so that they can get connection and then plug them or connect them into the Wi-Fi. At this point, I have all of the 4 lights on, and I need to add the devices to the group I just made called lights. This is still in the TP-Link app that I would use as a remote control. And clearly you can see that it works just as a remote control, but we want to set it up to do voice commands as well. So now we switch over to the Amazon Alexa app. You can see all the devices I've synced, but we still have to make a group of devices in the Amazon Alexa app manually, which is very easy. You can see me doing it right now. I just create it and then choose the devices to add, and I just select all 4. And at that point, we are good to go to not only use the lights on either app, but also to use the voice commands as well, which is the main purpose of these. And here is the dust collector plug.
Alexa, turn the toaster oven off in 3 hours.
Okay.
So I really hope you all enjoyed this video. It was definitely a quick one. There wasn't too much to show. I was originally planning on using a smart switch for my lights, and that would have worked the same as doing the method that I did with the plugs. But I'll explain why I didn't do that. The main reason being is that the wiring for this shop was done a long time ago, and it's kind of weird. Like, there's only two lines of power going to the switch. Like there's only a black and a white, and from my experience talking to my dad and my grandpa, it sounds like the white is also being used as a black. And anyway, with the way the smart switch is set up, it was impossible to wire. So I couldn't even do that without making it much more complicated. And also, since I will eventually be moving out of the shop either in 6 to 8 months if I go to a different grad school, or at the very most still a year and a half, it's much more likely that I'll find uses in my next shop with the smart plugs rather than a light switch that I would then have to take out or just leave here and not use again. So, like I said, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I am probably going to still be figuring out more things I can do with this. Like, I'm really happy that now my toaster oven that I use for stabilizing wood is now a smart oven, if you want to call it that. I can set timers, I can turn it off. The only thing I obviously can't do is control temperature with it, but that's okay because I have it dialed in to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what I will only ever keep it at anyway. So being able to turn that off remotely and set timers is really nice. Being able to turn the lights off, since my door is here and my light switch is on the other side of the shop, is really, really helpful and practical for me because I can obviously use my voice if I'm carrying stuff and I don't need to take out my phone to use the remote, or if I'm going to be carrying stuff in, I can just remotely turn it on because I have Wi-Fi obviously in the house and here, and before I even pick stuff up, turn it off. So enough rambling on my part. I'm sure all of you guys can kind of insinuate and figure out all the cool things I could do. And definitely leave any comments down below with any questions. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.